I'm building every piece of furniture in this house, and today we're making this stereo stand with all kinds of complicated angles. This project took me way out of my comfort zone with a design that's pretty unusual. I learned a ton from this that I think is gonna help me become a better designer and woodworker. One of the biggest hurdles for any woodworker, including myself, is figuring out how to clamp and reinforce angles. You'll pick up a ton of great tips throughout this video, and best of all, when I'm done making all the furniture, you'll be able to rent this house and judge my work firsthand. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this crazy build. This is an all-in-one unit. It's got an amplifier built into it with speakers, and it's Bluetooth to make it as simple as possible for guests at the house to use this. I will probably make my own speakers for this. Not today though. I designed the top of this to be 1 inch thick. My local plywood dealer doesn't have 1 inch thick walnut plywood, so we're gonna make our own using 3/4 inch walnut plywood and 1/4 inch walnut plywood, and then we're gonna laminate them together. Basically, we gotta sandwich these two guys together, but my vacuum press isn't big enough, so I'm gonna rough cut them down. So I'm gonna sandwich these two guys together. I have been told that even though this is plywood, that I shouldn't use wood glue because the moisture in there is going to make it wanna potato chip, even though it's plywood. I'm just gonna put some wood glue around the edges, and then I'm going to use this Barge all-purpose contact cement over most of it. That way there's not a lot of moisture. And I'm just now realizing that I should have put the contact cement down first because that has to set up before sandwiching the pieces. So with contact cement, you put it on both pieces and then you have to let them dry for a few minutes to get tacky. And then that's gonna go on there. And then the next one. So this guy's a little warped already, so hopefully the glue will do its thing. Then we can throw this into the oven. If I'm doing this wrong, let me know, because I've never done this before. That's the great thing about woodworking, is doing stuff you've never done before.
Doing stuff wrong?
That's the great thing about woodworking, is doing stuff wrong. Close up the bag. It's been an hour. Hopefully, these come out flat. We're gonna find out. It appears they did. No wobble. They dried up nice and flat. Awesome. So that worked out great. Now we got thick 1 inch walnut plywood. Now it's time to cut everything down to size. I need to get one clean edge, flip it over, and do the other side. I have a really hard time comprehending angles. The top piece and the bottom piece have different angles according to what I drew up. This angle right here should be 36 degrees. My blade does not go all the way down to 36 degrees. So that means I have to do the complementary angle, supplementary angle, one of those two, to 90. So that means I have to set the board this way and then run it through. I already have a jig that's going to assist me with that. That's gonna go on there, and then I can ride this through. But what that means is I have to cut this to width first, because I was just going to cut that angle and the width at the same time. But now that we're doing the upright thing, man, I am just not good with angles, but I love the way angles look. So I gotta set my blade back to 90, cut this to width, set it back to the complementary angle, which I believe is 54, supplementary angle. I forget, I get those two confused. So many people are gonna correct me down in the comments. What I should do is, I'm getting tear out on the bottom, but that's okay because they're gonna get chopped off with those angles. The bottom piece, just because it's a different size and there's different angles, I'm just gonna cut it to fit. I think that's gonna give me the best hope for a decent glue up. Also, we gotta worry about getting a spline in there. So then we gotta split the difference of all the angles, and oh my God, what am I doing? If you don't got one of these, you gotta get one of these. This is nice. This is so nice. Luxury. I got a video on making this. So I've got this jig that wraps around my fence, saddles it, that I can push along. Kind of a tight fit. Well, we'll make do. I'm gonna butt that all the way up to the blade, and then this will get clamped to that. So now I should just be able to flip my board over and repeat. Each side piece, I'm only cutting that angle on one side because the other side has a different angle. This hurts my brain. This hurts my brain. Now we need to cut the other angle on the side pieces. This angle was 36, but our blade didn't go far enough, so we had to do it upright, and the complementary angle was 54 degrees. This angle is 54 degrees, so I didn't have to change the blade, and now I can run this through flat like this. So I'll end up with a 36 and a 54 without changing the angle of my blade. My brain just imploded. So this bottom piece, I'm gonna cut to fit. I'm gonna cut it oversized, and then we're just gonna make it fit. We're gonna do our thing. Cut to fit. Almost cut the wrong side. Almost cut the wrong side. So.
I was just about to warn you.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm really, really happy with this. So I want the opportunity to screw this up one more time. I'm gonna take one of these angles and make it just slightly more of an angle. That way, if there is a gap, the gap is on the inside. I'm talking like a fraction of a degree. That is going to increase our chances of success greatly. I mean, whew, this is so good. So now here's my dilemma. I need a tape measure. I'm thinking I should reinforce these joints, even though that is 1 1/8 inch of surface area. I think I should put a spline in each one of these, which means I have to figure out what that angle is. So now I didn't have to change the blade angle, at least I don't think. And we're going to cut a slot in there for a spline. I know watching the videos, it's hard to get a sense of how long things take. We've been doing this all day, since about 10:30, 11 a.m. And it's only because my brain doesn't comprehend angles and I wanted to double check myself 3 or 4 times.
There's no mistakes today.
There was no mistakes today. We got it. This is one of those projects where tape will be used as clamps. It might be easier to pound the splines in afterward. All right, let's glue these guys together. I think this came out really, really good. No gaps. At least I can't see any gaps. There's tape covering it, but I think we're good. So I debated back and forth whether or not to edge band this first before gluing up. And I thought, wow, if there's any gaps on the seams, I can cover it up with the edge banding if I do it after the glue up. Thing is, we got perfect seams. So now I kind of wish I would have edge banded everything first. Top part is done. It'll fit about 30 or so records in here that you'll be able to flip through. The bottom part is sort of like the top part, just flipped upside down with different lengths and angles. So everything we just did, we're gonna do again. While we're waiting for the base to dry, I want to make a drawer for this section here. I got some push to open drawer slides that I think will work if we attach them to the bottom. I've never made a drawer like this with all these weird angles, so I'm gonna work on the sides first and then just kind of figure it out as we go. Cross-cutting plywood on the table saw, you always get tear out on the bottom. If you do it in 2 cuts, where the blade is just barely sticking up, you score it, and then you lift the blade up, cut it again, you'll get a nice clean cut on the bottom. Even though I know what that angle is, we're just gonna use this guy to set our blade. I'm gonna edge band these boards with some solid walnut. So I'm gonna get the thickness of my sides here and set my fence. Angles are so hard. Angles are hard. So what I didn't account for when I glued on the top pieces was this little gap that I was going to get in the 4 corners. So instead of fixing the gap, I decided to highlight the gap and round over all the edges.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Sometimes the project just wants to go in its own direction and you just got to go with the flow. And then I'm just going to glue that on right there. So we're going to carefully flip this upside down. If anybody's thinking just gluing it together is not going to hold, this drawer right here, that drawer is just glued and pin nailed together, and it's been holding all these tools for years. No reinforcements at all. This tiny little drawer, it's going to be just fine. The drawer face and all the edge banding is going to be made out of solid wood, so we picked up this beautiful piece of walnut from our friends at KenCraft. This angle is different than this angle. So I'm cutting this angle at the table saw, rough cutting this angle at the bandsaw, and then I'm gonna sand down this angle to fit. Sometimes solid walnut doesn't match the walnut plywood, so just in case, I wanna make it a feature and have it stand out by making the front edge banding 1 inch thick. We got some nice thick edge banding for the front, and then some nice thin edge banding for the back. So that is looking good. So now we're gonna work on the drawer face, which is gonna be made completely out of solid walnut. Now that the walnut is dry for the drawer, I've got it on this planer sled to get one flat side, and then once we do that, we can flip it over. Great way to bypass the joiner. Nobody has a joiner that's 15.5 inches wide. I'm gonna cut this down a little oversized for now, and then we'll cut it to fit later. I've got these push to open drawer slides that'll eliminate the need for a handle on here. We're gonna mount these on the underside of the drawer instead of on the sides. It is now upside down, and because of the shape of everything, the drawer just kind of holds into place. We did put some spacers in the side there, and I can drill and screw the first 2 screws, pull it out until the next 2 holes are exposed, drill and screw there. I think this is gonna work. I think this is gonna work. How you like me now? So we're gonna attach the drawer face with screws and glue. And now, I can do this all day. But this nice flat razor blade should transfer that line perfectly. And then screw it in from the back, if you know what I'm saying. And we got that screwed into place. I haven't decided if I'm gonna reinforce them or just use glue. Oh, so heavy. I made this little spacer to know where I need to be. I'll just let that dry. Daniel was just saying you seem really concerned about the details. I want people to come, look at it, judge it, try to find flaws. I want people to touch it.
Every time I touch it, you smack my hand away.
It's because you got to ask permission first. You need consent. This is a cute little house here in Toledo, Ohio, and I am building every single piece of furniture in here. So far, we've built some bar stools, a bathroom vanity, and some nightstands. And when I am done building every single piece of furniture, I'm going to open it up and you'll be able to rent this place, judge my work firsthand, and work with me in my shop. We've been working on it for a few months. We got a long ways to go, so if you're not subscribed, please do so you can watch the transformation of this house. And at the end of the video, I'll also have a playlist of everything that we've done so far. All right, back to the project. Originally, I was playing with some speaker stands that was gonna play off the cabinet, and then I decided, and then the speaker was gonna go into here, and then there's gonna be a grill cloth. And it just looked too big and bulky. And so then I was playing around with the idea of it just going into a square, less big and bulky, and then the speaker actually goes inside there, but this whole thing would have been covered with a grill cloth. All still too big. Well, let's make this as light as possible, light visually, I mean. So thought about having a base, a center column, and then a little stand, and then the speaker sits on top of the stand. And then Daniel said, well, what if the center column was angled? So we'll have a base that goes like this. We'll do a center column that goes like this, comes back this way with a little stand here, and then the speaker will sit on that stand. I think that is the way to go. It's not too big and too bulky. It repeats the same angles as the cabinet, but doesn't take away from the look of the cabinet. I got all the pieces cut up for the stands here. The base is going to be 3 layers thick. And again, we're gonna use some contact cement, barge glue, all-purpose cement. I did it again. This one, perfectly fine. This one would be fine if I had the grain going the right way. So I have got a couple of options. I could do the angle on all 4 sides, but then that doesn't match the cabinet. I could just re-glue up another piece and cut it. I could just veneer the top so the grain is running the right way. So decided to go with veneer to get that grain direction going the right way. We're gonna add some funky angles to it. We're kind of designing on the fly now. But before we do that, I want to edge band the front and back of these before we start cutting them up. And while I'm edge banding these, I might as well edge band everything else. And while we're doing that, I would like to tell you about today's sponsor, and that is Squarespace. I've been using Squarespace for over 10 years, long before they were a sponsor. I just did a refresh. I completely changed up logos and colors and layout. All I had to do was just drag things around, click a few buttons, change some colors, and I was done. It was that easy. That's what's amazing about Squarespace. Everything is just drag and drop and copying and pasting, all thanks to the Fluid engine. With Squarespace, I sell both digital and physical items. I use a third-party fulfillment company for all my print-on-demand items, and that integrates seamlessly into Squarespace. I got some great analytics to my store. I got some great analytics to see the traffic coming in and through my website. Squarespace just makes my life so much easier. It's 2024. It's time to make your life easier with a Squarespace website. So visit squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, visit squarespace.com/makesomething for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. This one's a little outside the box for me. And when I say outside the box, there are no boxes. There's no squares. There's no 90-degree angles on this one. So thank you, Squarespace, for allowing me to explore my creative side. Let's finish this up. So we're gonna use the dowel max jig and some dowels for the joinery. Okay, look at that. I can't believe that worked. I was so nervous because I didn't have a way to clamp this down. Angles are so hard, and that worked so well. I just got so excited, and I told Daniel, just roll the camera. We got to capture this because this is one of the happiest moments of this project. Oh, that is, oh. All right, we gotta do the other one. That is so cool. I am so relieved that worked. I have been working on the perfect finish for me. That is a two-step process that's done in 24 hours. Not gonna be the perfect finish for everybody, but for my case, it should be perfect for me. I've done many tests. I still got many more tests to go, but it's a combination of boiled linseed oil without any additives. Most of the boiled linseed oil that you get has some hardeners and some stuff added to it. This is linseed oil that has been boiled, I quote, heated, but you could still drink it. This is still natural, comes from flaxseed. And then I'm mixing it with shellac. Instead of using denatured alcohol, I'm using Everclear, and then got some beeswax and some carnauba wax. So all of this is editable. You could eat and drink all of this without dying. And so that is what I'm trying to accomplish, is a finish that is perfect for me, that is 100% natural and drinkable. I just want it to be so clean. I still got many more tests to go to figure out the right ratios of everything. I'm getting close, so that is gonna be a future video. I am absolutely thrilled with how this came out. It was difficult at times. There are no 90-degree joints throughout the entire project. My brain just doesn't comprehend angles very well, but I learned a ton about complementary and supplementary angles. One of the things that I learned about this trapezoid design is once I set my angle, I was good to go for the rest of the project, even for the splines, because I could run my boards upright through the table saw to split that in half. It's so satisfying. I got a playlist for the other builds that we've done for this house, including the stool that I'm sitting on now, some nightstands, and a bathroom vanity. It's gonna be a few more months before this place is rentable, but once it's ready, you'll have the opportunity to come here and judge all of my work firsthand. We're also trying to come up with some packages so that while you're here, you can work with me in my shop on a project of your choosing. Still working all the details out, but we've got time. That's gonna wrap it up. As always, be safe, have fun, stay passionate, and make something.